So a couple weeks ago, Riot released their champion roadmap post, which talked about all the upcoming reworks coming to League of Legends, but it also talked about the next champion coming to League of Legends, which is a Void Marksman. Since then, Riot has released a little in-game teaser on the champion, similar to Zoe's in-game teaser a couple weeks before she got fully revealed, so that tells me that the Void Marksman's kit is going to be revealed in the next couple days, but before that happens, I thought it'd be fun to fully predict the kit in vigorous detail and see how close I get to the actual kit. Now, we don't have much information on this champion, but we do have a bit more information thanks to Red Mercy. He uploaded a video that got taken down just because I guess he broke NDA a little bit with Riot. But in the video, he mentioned that he actually got to playtest all of the new champion reworks and the new champions, including the Void Marksman, and did say a couple things about the Void Marksman's kit that we didn't know from the champion roadmap. Unfortunately, I don't have the video downloaded and I can't find it anywhere online, so you'll just have to trust me, but we do have a bit more information on this Void Marksman. So before we begin, let's just quickly run through everything we know for sure as a fact for this new champion. So in the roadmap, Riot basically says that this is a super high risk, high reward marksman. So I'm not expecting anybody similar to like Caitlyn or kog'maw. I'm thinking more of like a Vayne or a Lucian type champion. Players who aren't afraid to hunt for the perfect opportunity no matter where it takes them. So that shows me that very aggressive champion, no matter where it takes them, makes me feel like they might have some safety in chasing champions. Players will go deep into the enemy territory and thrive. This makes me think that the champion's going to have something that's either territorial based, where it's like you get a buff if you're more in the enemy territory, kind of similar to like a Kindred passive or a Skarner passive, or it just means that you will be able to go in and escape very safely and just, you can thrive in that type of environment, but don't necessarily have a static buff for just being in the enemy territory. That's about it for the roadmap. Now, what Red Mercy said, which you just have to trust me on, is he mentioned that this champion has a dash, and this champion has a unique / non-typical ultimate for an ADC, which makes me think it's a more utility-based ultimate rather than a damage ultimate like Vayne's and Lucian's and Graves' ultimate, which are the other more aggressive ADCs that we currently have, that this champion will most likely be similar to. And of course, it's a Void champion, and every new Void champion has had like a Void portal-ish interaction. Rek'sai can go through its tunnels. vel'koz opens up the Void with its Void Rift. Kha'zix can like merge into the Void with his ultimate, making him invisible. And the only champions who don't really have super Void-like abilities are old Void champions like kog'maw and cho'gath, but both of those champions actually happen to be on the top priority list for visual gameplay updates from Riot, according to this recent post that they put on their boards. So it's very, very safe to assume that this champion is going to have a lot of Void portal-y themes throughout its kit. And now, with that all out of the way, we can finally get into the kit. So let me read all these abilities out to you, and then afterwards I can tell you why I'm predicting this to be the actual kit for the Marksman Champion. First off, the passive. Void Cursed Bolts. By the way, all these names are completely temporary, and I know that I'm going to mention Void Rifts very soon, and that's already the name of vel'koz's W, but in the final reveal, obviously, the name of this will be changed. Basic attacks rip into the Void as they travel, leaving Void Rifts that last for 15 seconds. Enemy champions who pass through a Void Rift are dealt magic damage per second over 3 seconds. Basic attacks dealt within 200 range of the target enemy are empowered by the Void, dealing 200% AD physical damage. Void-empowered auto attacks cannot create Void Rifts. Q, Void Hop. Dashes in a target direction, gaining bonus attack speed for 2 seconds. Dashing through a Void Rift reduces Void Hop's cooldown to 1 second. W, Void Execution. Passive. Basic attacking an enemy champion applies a mark on them for 4 seconds. Applying 4 marks on a target makes them exposed, reducing their armor by 20% for 4 seconds. Subsequent basic attacks reduce the target's armor for an additional 5% each. Void-empowered auto attacks apply 2 marks instead of 1. Active. Fire an orb of Void energy on an exposed target, consuming the marks and dealing damage based off their missing health. Enemies damaged by Void Execution cannot be marked again for 10 seconds. E. Void Entanglement. Void tentacles emerge from all void rifts for 3 seconds, knocking down and stunning all enemies who pass through them for the first time. All void rifts collapse at the end of void entanglement's duration. And now for the ultimate, Void Evade. Passive. Champion takedowns grant a charge of Void Evade and reduce Void Evade's remaining cooldown by 75%. Active. Become invisible, invulnerable, silenced, blinded, and ghosted for 2.5 seconds. Entering a Void Rift while using Void Evade grants 40% bonus movement speed. And of course, you can reactivate Void Evade at any time to cancel its effects. So my goal with this champion design was to try and bring back the old playstyle that we had from pre-rework Urgot and Graves in the bot lane, where you were like a tanky bruiser, in-your-face type marksman, but also do that without having raw defensive stats to make that possible, and also, of course, staying within the constraints of what we already know about this new marksman champion. So, the most important part of this champion is the passive that defines its entire playstyle, the basic attacks dealing double damage within 200 range. Your goal is always to just attack within 200 range and then use the void rifts that you create from longer range to dash through everything and have that increased attack speed to dash onto your opponents to get into that range. And then to become safe and not get fucking bursted because you're an ADC and you're gonna just get bursted if you're in melee range, I added the lower cooldown on dash through a Void Rift, and I also added the E, which turns the Void Rift into basically a Vigar E-stun. So the typical quick burst combo that you do on this champion is go in for an auto attack for a Void Rift, dash through that Void Rift, get 2 autos on the enemy, dash back out through the Void Rift, then it'll be on 1 second cooldown, you dash again, proc the W because you've already had the 2 autos from going in, and then if you need to, press E and the enemy can't get onto you. So that's just like a quick dash in, dash out combo similar to an assassin, except it's on an ADC. And obviously the counterplay to that is that for a while there, the ADC is going to be in melee range of you, and she can't start off with a CC. She has to set up her CC just for a disengage later. So if you're smart, you can lock her down and kill her before she's able to get her combo off. And, of course, we have the ultimate, which rewards you for killing the target if you do actually end up going deep into the enemy territory. Like Riot said on the roadmap, you can just press R and get a free card out of there. Just walk out. And that's how you thrive in enemy territory. That's how I made the thriving in enemy territory statement possible within this kit, is through that. So as you can see, everything in this kit is just designed to work around the passive of dealing bonus damage within melee range of the target without necessarily giving her any just straight defense like on old Urgot with the shield and the passive, and on old Graves with the passive. It's just no defensive stats. You just go in and then you have the tools to escape after you deal that damage in very close range. Kind of like an assassin, but you're still a marksman because you're ranged and you can still deal normal auto attacks and create those void rifts to get into range and use it to your advantage, which kind of goes off the idea of people who don't go in or won't do very well on the champion because they're just basically an ADC with no tools at their disposal, because all of the tools are basically invented for you to go in, and if you don't go in, well then you're kind of just a normal ADC at that point with no abilities, and you might as well play a different champion, right? So you can attack from a range and be safe and be a normal marksman, but you get heavily rewarded for going in and going ham and taking that extra risk. Again, Riot said this is a super high risk, super high reward champion, so I think this kit embodies it a lot. Also, Void Execution, super cool spell. Basically, it stacks faster if you're in melee range of people. What I imagine people will do is just build full AD to take advantage of the double AD damage, and then use the attack speed from the Q to just like supplement the attack speed, and also probably get Berserker's Reaves. You just go in, burst people down with the 2 autos to apply the 4 marks within melee range, and then bam, execution, you know? And then if you're not in melee range, you're going to do less damage, but it'll also take longer for the execution to happen because of the marks, so you do it a little slower, but you still get that good, decent chunk of damage, because let's be honest, the only real damage ability in the kit is the W besides the small damage over time on the passive with Void Rift, which I just added because it kind of made a bit of sense. The Void Rifts are really there just to aid the champion more than hinder the enemy, but I just added the damage over time because, you know, why not? It kind of makes sense that you'd want to avoid those areas as an enemy anyway, so why not give you some incentive to just avoid that shit. If I needed to cut off any power in the kit, it would probably be taking off the damage on the Void Rifts, and maybe also changing the invisibility on the ultimate to camouflage. Some people might think the ultimate's OP, but you gotta keep in mind you only get the ultimate if you get a takedown, and when you level up the ultimate, you don't start with a charge. You have to always get a takedown to use a charge, so if you're losing the game, you're not gonna benefit at all from your ultimate if you're getting no takedowns and not contributing to fights. So it also encourages you to actually go in and actually deal damage instead of just sitting around trying to farm up till late game. You actually have to go in and contribute to a fight to benefit from the ultimate, and the ultimate rewards you for going in by giving you safety to go back out. If you're wondering, the range on this champion is probably going to be around 500. Very, very low range, probably just typical low range marksman, similar to Lucian. And yeah, I feel like this kit overall just works really well if you think about it in every way. Just all the outplays you could do with the Void Rifts and trying to set that up, going in and getting so rewarded just for being super, super aggressive and basically being a diver, a marksman version of a diver, and then having the ability to get out. It's like a diver, a marksman, an assassin, and you just have the peel to get out with your E, and you could even use your E in creative ways, like if you're able to auto-attack someone across, like, a jungle path or something, you could use the Void Rift within 15 seconds to just block off somebody else, and then you know when you place on that Void Rift in that path that you have an escape, so you can use that to your advantage. And this kit just has so much depth to it, and I really would love a kit like this to exist, because marksman is my least favorite role, if you don't know. And it's just because I feel like every champion is so stale. I love playing divers and champions that can go in. My old favorite champion is Urgot before the rework. I played him the most out of every champion in League of Legends, and the reason I liked him so much, even though I didn't play him bot lane and his kit had a lot of problems, is because he was a marksman that could just go in and go ham on people and be in melee range and thrive. And you can also do that on Graves, and you can still do that on Urgot now to a certain extent, but Urgot's range is so low, he's barely even a marksman, and Graves is just a jungler. So I thought I could bring this playstyle back into bot lane, and it'd be so fun. I would love if this kid is in League of Legends. Riot, please make this prediction as accurate as possible. I need this kit in my life after creating it. Maybe I'm giving myself too much praise, but just all the shit you can do with this kit and how ham you can go, and then the safety with the ultimate, it's just, it feels like the perfect high-risk, high-reward ADC that I would love to have in League of Legends. Hopefully people wouldn't build a tank and abuse it like Tank Echo, but obviously that's another discussion with the balance changes. What do you guys think about this kit? What do you guys think the actual kit will be if you want to make a more accurate prediction? I tried to just mix this in with what I would like to see and what I predict, because obviously, you know, you can't predict the kit perfectly. We have so little information to go off of, so I have no idea what the kit will actually be like. But if I were in charge of designing this Void Marksman, this is how I would do it, and I hope Riot is the same as me in that regard, because I really, really want to play this champion now, holy shit. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and please tell me in the comments what you think of this kit in particular, and what you think the actual Void Champion will come out with. That's about it. See you guys later. Bye.